Previously on Quest Friends Hereafter. Hilda and Sparky, you walk through downtown Valley, which is starting to get Necromon fever.
My name is Irene, and I am a great Necromon trainer.
Being the best? Like no one ever won. That's what the tournament is, though.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be in the tournament then.
The group has been invited to a public school to educate some children.
Vice Principal Seth Keyhole, he's concerned with how violent all of the clubs are at this school. Jousting, dueling, the other dueling club.
Specifically where all of the missing Ultramon are.
All of the glass barriers protecting Osetsuba's collection go down.
Grumbo, shall we away?
The Scuba Corps space scraper looms over the valley like the corpse of a titan. And inside of that, an undertaker, a man in like khaki pants, an aloha shirt and sunglasses, is sitting there on his phone being like, oh man, they got that leg, eh? Am I right, Ron 12? You're right there on 13. They sure got it. Hey, aren't we supposed to be in that Titanic museum? Oh yeah, let's get on that. The two of them turn off the phone and stand up. And as they stand up from the Scuba Corps Space Scraper Security Center, we see ghostly, faceless beings wearing only black and white formal clothing, just floating around them and swarming over the entirety of the Scuba Corps Space Scraper, almost like maggots feasting on its discarded remains.
Did they just kill all the employees of Scuba Corps? Like, what do you mean there's things that come when there's dead bodies?
The employees are like maggots on a corpse, and the corpse is Scuba Corps. The corpse is not the Scuba Corps employees.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
They're just fired. They just don't have jobs. Some of them might be corpses, but that's unrelated to the Bureau of Intermortal Enforcement taking over Scuba Corps. We can also see that all of Scuba Corps things in the valley, the Intermortal Necromon dueling signs, have been hastily taken down and pasted over with just standard signs. There's no real event going on. Getting over the new cool thing. You know, I hear that sockball is really popular nowadays, so maybe there's some signs for that. But Scuba Corps is nowhere to be found. Its presence almost completely wiped from the valley, with the exception of this giant corpse of a building and the junkyard graveyard. Because in the valley, there is a graveyard that is a junkyard. There are a couple of neat things there. There is a mausoleum that leads to the Dallas-Fort Worth Intermortal Airport. There is a van, a very hip 70s van, right next to a trailer home. But in this graveyard junkyard, there is also a building, a small one-story indoor mall that used to be really, really alive, but now is not even visited by the dead. And we can see that there are a series of Mon just kind of walking around. In fact, there's one Necromon, a little paper towel holder, sadly hopping along.
What?
It looks faint. It's white and misty with like its shape being made out of this river of blue light. And it has a little card, a little necro card that it just carries around with it as it sadly hops in the mall. And the towel, whose name we mess up multiple times this episode, in a panic suddenly hops away as a hand reaches out to it and then goes back. Vice Principal Seth Keyhole looks to all of the kids that are here in this junkyard mall on a field trip and says, well, now children, that is a sign of how not to do it. As you can see, to help these injured mon, we must be less violent than we are used to. Yes, less violent indeed.
Yeah, what?
Walnut raises their hand. But Mr. Keyhole, we're the dueling club. Fighting is what we do. Well, maybe that's why he brought us here. To try something else? That's silly now, Freddy. That's silly. Right, Mr. Keyhole? And Mr. Keyhole is just looking back and forth, is like, yes, our young friend, Freddy doesn't have a last name. And Seth Keyhole only says last name, so I'll say our young friend here who, and he looks through a sheet, is, as I understand, not part of the dueling club? Oh no, he's with me. I'm his host sibling. So, we're allowed to come along on events like this. Oh, right, of course, as was per the rules. Well, this young man here is, in fact, correct. I thought it would be a great opportunity to show you a gentler side of Necromon training, and, well, the experts that I brought in insisted that here was the best place, so... And he looks back at this mall, which is completely dead and has a bunch of mon that look kind of faded and injured like the other ones, just sadly meandering around. And it's at this point that I want everyone to paint the scene for me. I want all of you to describe one way that this mall is exceptionally dead or exceptionally dangerous.
At some of the, former outlets, you can still see the skeletons of people who were, left inside when that grate was pulled down over the store.
Oh, no!
Just clawing at it from within.
Oh my god! Oh wow, that raises an interesting question, because when you die, your soul and body separate, which means that someone could be a skeleton type of dead and also just have a skeleton body. Or someone could be a ghost and still have the skeleton. Ooh, that's fascinating. Okay, yeah, I love that.
You know those moving walkways like they have at airports?
Yeah.
They're there and they're still running, but they run very erratically, like in short spurts, and sometimes they go the other direction just briefly.
Okay.
So at some point, an overhead fluorescent light fixture has sort of collapsed down onto a decorative water fountain. And that whole area is just sort of sparking and sputtering nonstop. And in front of it, someone has put one orange cone with a piece of paper taped onto it that just says, "Careful."
Glad we're making this an actual death trap.
After a second, that cone pops up and a little, snail Necromon, which has taken it as its new home, just starts slinking away with the warning sign.
It's so cute.
All right, Hannah, what's the last?
I think that there's a lot of abandoned stores, right? And you can see, what they might have been in their heyday once.
Yeah.
But I think a weird number of them, more than one, and also a lot more than one, were clearly similar to a Hot Topic in a way that makes you sort of wonder what demo this mall was going after. And then also it means that sort of just around you could get a studded belt anywhere just laying on the ground. There's just a lot of studded belts everywhere because there's too many Hot Topics.
I was going to say, you just want a studded belt, don't you?
I just want every character to have the option.
Grumbo appears, is her next appearance. She just has 15 studded belts.
Yes, they're just all around my arms and legs.
So, Irene, that is where you, all the other members of the Necromon Dueling Club, and Freddy find yourself on this fine afternoon.
Irene is pretending not to care as much as she does. She's leaned back a little bit. Her arms are crossed. She's looking around excitedly, but she's got her head tilted down so people can't see it.
Walnut pops behind one of your shoulders. Well, hey there, Irene.
Hello, Walnut.
I haven't seen you around a lot lately. At lunch, what's been going on?
I've been busy.
Oh, well, okay, I just, I thought you and Juniper could talk tactics, because, like, you've got a plan for this, right? Like, the two pros, like, you and her being, like...
I wouldn't say it's two pros. I would say it is me, and then it is one novice looking to be a pro.
No, we're talking about Juniper, not... Walnut's eyes go dark. So what you got? Where's your mon? What's going on with your mon? You gonna pull them out? Like, are they hiding? Are they hiding somewhere in secret?
I have learned that they are rogue agents and they do what they will.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure they'll be fine. Yeah.
Obviously, we've trained well.
Wow, you must have a lot of faith with your Necromon.
Of course I do. They are the best.
Some of the best. I mean, Juniper's Mon are pretty good.
They are the best.
Do you remember that thing they did where they there were two of them and then there was one of them and then they blocked Malea's attack? And that was so cool. But Juniper's so cool. I don't know how she got to her school. She's got to be this really cool type of dead. Just so much is going on,
Irene stares into the void.
I wonder where Juniper is. Oh, well, I hear that she actually invited her host sister along, and so they're coming together. And Walnut's eyes darken again. Oh.
Irene was about to ask who her host sister was, but then she realized that she was going to ask something about Juniper, and shuts her mouth again.
I want you to roll me convince somebody with Slick.
Is Irene convincing herself in this role?
Obviously. 9. I'm so convincing.
Something is preventing them from doing what you want. They ask for something in return. They make one inconvenient misunderstanding, and they are temporarily upset with you.
This is for Freddy?
You are convincing Freddy. I was having you roll to see if Freddy would figure out what the question was without you finishing asking it.
They make an inconvenient misunderstanding.
Okay.
I want to know what Freddy misunderstands.
He thinks you don't like Juniper.
Well, obviously I don't.
And he's going to say, oh, well, I know you and Juniper have your hard times, but her host sister might actually help with that.
I don't need help from anyone with anything.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can go someplace else, can't we, Hilda? And that's when Hilda is just there.
Hi.
Hello, Hilda. I see you are back at Dueling Club.
Just as a guest. Juniper said she wanted me along. I wasn't sure if I wanted to come, but if we're going out to see Necromon, that's pretty cool.
That's right! Hilda knows all about all kinds of Necromon. She has all these magazines about wild Necromon and stuff that they do. It's really, really, really interesting. And Juniper appears out of fucking nowhere and is like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I've introduced you two yet, have I?
We know each other. Hilda is my rival.
We met last year.
Hilda's in temporary retirement, but I'm sure she will be back soon.
She will awkwardly, look down at her feet and, scuff one shoe along the ground. Just sort of kicking, a broken piece of glass that happens to be here in the mall.
That is so cool. You should come hang out at our table sometime for lunch.
Irene's face gets very, very red. I'm busy.
Irene used to go with us to lunch a lot, but yeah, she says she's really busy. But don't worry, it's not because of any, bad feelings towards you or anything like that.
Irene's shoulders are creeping up towards her ears, and she is just beet red. I'm very busy. With lots of stuff.
Well, I understand that. I'm very busy too, with all of my, ow! And she makes a pained voice as she almost seems to get, punched in the side from her messenger bag. And she just, freezes up and blushes a little bit. Stuff! That's why we're late. I held up Hilda. I'm sorry about that, Hilda. I couldn't find Booker anywhere.
No, it's okay. It's not your responsibility to look for him. But Hilda is just, looking back and forth between Irene and Juniper, loading screen not fully clicking for Hilda's brain yet. What's going on here?
Anyway, I think we're on a field trip, so we should pay attention.
All right, now children, come around. So our guests are...
I'm not a child.
a little bit.
Cool, awesome, hot.
Our guests are a little bit late. So
Actually, Gleep George will tug at the vice principal's sleeve. They're here, it's just they're waiting for the right moment, but I think that they would prefer you not to say something negative like late. It's just, for PR purposes, we don't like to throw those.
Sleep, George. You're too close to the center of the frame.
Sorry.
Step 2 steps to the left. Excellent.
Seth just looks at you, HR, and is like, oh, am I too close to the frame? Should I scooch?
Oh, you're
out?
fine, sir.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about a thing.
It's just me. I'm never in the right place.
We're simply the support staff. The real talent is elsewhere.
Well, I didn't know that we hired support staff.
Not for you.
Well then, for whom?
Grumbo is going to somersault into the hallway everyone's standing, drop a smoke bomb, and then just sort of like do Vanna White arms, waiting.
And Elizabeth runs out, arms up, holding a staff in one hand, which itself is glowing with necrotech potentiality, and then just sort of tosses a couple little fireballs up into the air.
Would you have wanted Gleep George to step back slightly into the crowd and start slow clapping to try to get everyone clapping for you?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, he's definitely gonna get that going. He might be the only one clapping and nobody else understands what's going on, but he is doing his best.
Juniper's confused, but pretty quickly she starts clapping too.
Hilda will awkwardly start to clap as well.
Irene does nothing. Her face does not change. She continues to stand there with her arms crossed.
Her arms crossed as all the kids start cheering, and then they start getting loud as they come on the stage. How are you feeling, Hilda and Irene?
Hilda has actually never watched a Ghost Hunter show before in her life. She has no idea who these people are or what they are doing.
Irene, like myself when I was young, has deeply internalized the not like other girls idea, so she doesn't watch TV.
That's how you know you have value.
But as you said in the chat, she has absolutely no feelings at all for these two attractive and powerful women. One of whom is hot, is literally the description, not description of how she is hot, just that she is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the two of you go on stage, and I think you can just take this over, because Vice President Keyhole, he winces a bit at the flames, well, that's awfully violent.
No, man, it's fine.
Oh. And since you said that, that means that he accidentally got backed into the crowd of children, and they're so riled up, he cannot get onto the stage. So you have a literally captive audience.
My favorite kind. So, I'm gonna slam my staff to the ground. I'm gonna get into my power pose. Grumbo, I have to assume that you will come in and power pose next to me. Not too close, but...
I know my levels, right? I'm never trying to take up the same amount of airspace as you, but I will be, around your knees, just sort of, skulking and glaring at anyone trying to, talk while you are.
That's right! It's Elizabeth Thorne!
Clap.
Gleep George.
Clap.
Clap. Start the clap again.
Juniper pops in as soon, and the crowd gets excited again. And even Seth Keyhole is doing a very formal clap.
Enough! I say with a dramatic wave of my arm.
Asking for applause just to shout enough is so good.
I also know that Gleep George would probably all the children stop, but Gleep George just keeps clapping a little bit.
Oh yeah, he does it a little too long at any one point. Most people, when they clap, it's it's relatively even. Gleep George does not do that.
All right, I just point my staff at Gleep George and I shake my head slowly.
He does 2 thumbs up.
Slam the staff onto the stage again. Kids! Hello. How are we doing today? Having a wonderful time here at this mall, I guess?
This mall smells of death, a child says.
Good, stop talking.
That's how you know we're in good Necromon hunting grounds. A true Necromon hunter can sniff them out.
Gleep George, you might have paid attention to the small child who clapped immediately with you. Because, she's your rock at this point, man.
She's doing my job, but better, and it's...
When Juniper hears hunter, she gets a deep frown, and she starts, fiddling with her messenger bag a little bit.
Irene also doesn't look thrilled.
Hilda's also looking at this with now narrowed eyes.
Seth Keyhole's eyes are wide. He heard the word hunter, and he's sweating bullets at this point.
Oh no, it's a lawsuit incoming. Not again.
Their nonviolent activity was the most violent one of all.
On stage, Grumbo is just running her big net through her hands.
Seductively in front of these 5 to 18-year-olds.
Some of them are of age.
That's not what it's about. If it's a raw sexuality, if that's how you're interpreting it, then that's what's happening. But Grumbo's just doing Grumbo.
Grumbo's doing Grumbo for Grumbo self.
Exactly.
For Grum self. Anyways, I'll let you continue.
Now, I couldn't help but notice, as I was watching from around the corner, that your esteemed vice principal here completely failed to capture a simple towel. And I hop down from the stage and I give Keyhole a slap on the back as if we are just joyous comrades.
Old chums.
Beautiful show of subcompetence to set me up. Thank you kindly.
He just nods. Of course. Yes. Children, see, I was just showing, setting up for the experts. That's what you can tell your parents and the principal and superintendent.
Yes, letting everyone know that sometimes a proper Necromon capture does require a little bit of outside the box thinking. Now, often the direct attack is best, as my lovely comrade here, Grumbo, can demonstrate. Grumbo, can you do me a favor? Do you see that little snail beneath the orange cone? Can you show these children an example of your finest netsmanship?
I thought the power of friendship was the best way to capture Necromon.
It isn't.
Grumbo looks at the yellow cone out of the side of her eyes and goes,
This one?
and then just whips one hand out to try and net it as fast as possible.
I want you to roll. You're going to do keep your cool because you're trying to do it with elegance and panache. So that's going to be plus slick, and you do get advantage because you are using your net.
So that is then 1 plus 4 plus 3 is 10, 11, 8.
So you get advantage, so take the top 3, roll 3 dice, take the results of the top 2, and then add 3. Did you do that?
4 plus 5 plus 3 would be
12. So you do it.
Suck on that.
Describe how you catch this cone, Mon.
Grumbo catches this Mon as well as I can't add. So all of the adding that I'm unable to do, Grumbo has catching abilities in spades. Grumbo's hand whips out, and almost akin to what you might expect to see from an Old West lassoing move, scooped up into the net is a squiggling little snail.
And yeah, this snail, which is now going to be Squiggle, that's going to be its name. The squiggle is squiggling. It's been disconnected a bit from the cone. It's struggling a bit, and just like the other ones, it's faint and it has those lines of blue light inside of the mist forming its form, and it has a necro card that has like a lot of dust and trash on it, as if someone just threw it into the junkyard and it ended up in this mall.
Now, I have a quick question for you about Squiggle. What element does Squiggle have at its disposal? And is it slime?
It's got to be slime.
It's got to be slime. Yeah, Squiggle is slime, but Squiggle's pretty dry. Like, its element is slime, but it looks like it's sad and it's dry.
You hate to see it. Grumbo is holding it in the net, like how someone might hold a goldfish at a county fair, just like ready for children to be impressed.
Irene looks decidedly unimpressed.
Grumbo ignores Irene.
Juniper also looks very unimpressed. Gleep George, you can see that your anchor, your lifeline, seems to be starting to move out of the crowd.
Gleep George finds himself deeply distressed and almost goes to ask this child to come back. But he realizes that he needs to zoom in on Grumbo.
Gleep George needs to believe in themselves, but also mostly Grumbo.
Exactly.
No, you don't understand. Gleep George does believe in Grumbo.
All of the new hire paperwork made sure that Gleep George was signing things to that effect.
How's Hilda feeling?
Hilda feels like the sketchiness just keeps rising the further these people speak to the crowd. And she is like slowly trying to make her way over to Irene. And then maybe if she can find her Juniper and Freddy and Walnut to be like,
Irene raises her hand.
We're saving all questions to the end. Thank you very much.
I have a question now, actually.
Anyway, as I was about to demonstrate, the direct approach is often effective, but sometimes we need to be a little, you can put your hand down, dear, a little sideways. And I am going to continue ignoring that hand.
Grumbo is shooting daggers.
Hilda's hand goes up too.
I'm going to sort of gently grab at this this squiggle, and I'm going to turn towards where that lone little low-watt is hopping around. And I'm going to use magic.
What kind of magic are you using?
I'm just going to blast it with slime and hope it gets stuck.
Roll me plus fierce.
That is 9, 10, 11, 12.
All right, so you cast your magic perfectly. The little squiggle, we just hear, it starts making pain squiggly sounds as it like is forced back into the card, and the card itself starts to crinkle, and blue light goes from it across Elizabeth's arms until her other hand has slime magic. And then how do you shoot out the slime magic?
You know what? I'm gonna just sort of form a friggin' dodgeball in my hand, and then just hurl it forward to slam the towel.
It hits the towel, and it's stuck. And the children are silent.
Grumbo looks at Irene and Hilda and is like,
Does that answer your questions?
Boo!
actually, I have a few more questions now.
That's not how our club works.
Well, that's how things work in the real world, darling.
Yeah, we're grown-ups.
What a comically evil grown-up thing to say. Yeah, we're grown-ups.
Hilda's just going to say, how did you do that? Drawing on the card like that.
Well, I'm Elizabeth Thorne, child. You've heard of me?
No.
Maybe this one was born yesterday.
Where are you from? You're not on TubeU. I've never seen you once in a video of anything, or read about you in a book.
Your algorithm sucks.
Yeah, you're reading the wrong books, baby.
Have you been published in any peer-reviewed Necromon-related journals?
All right, now, children, there's no need to keep pestering Miss Thorne and Miss Grumbo there.
Grumbo hisses at the children.
Hilda's just slowly doing, like, the clenching her fist like the Arthur meme, and is just going to quietly use Declare Guilty on Elizabeth Thorne.
And that gives you a +1 against her ongoing, right?
Correct.
I love it. It's beautiful, and I deserve it.
Hello, welcome to the Hello and welcome to the announcement break for the Lich's Shadow Part 2 out of 3. Thank you again to Hannah and Laura for being wonderfully delicious villains for this adventure. If you're interested in their stuff, Hannah is making art and trouble in Baltimore. Find her at Wicked Glint on Instagram, where she posts the weird stuff that she makes. Meanwhile, Laura is a semi-retired game designer who mostly works at a library these days. You can still get her weird little games at glavegusarme.com or follow her on Blue Sky, where she also goes by Glaive, the word I should have looked up the pronunciation for. Check the description below for all of those links. Down there, you're also going to find a link to Dungeons and Drimbus, which you should already be listening to because we put up the first episode of their new season last week. That's right, Dungeons and Drimbus are the people behind Yes Chef, the actual play that combines Hell's Kitchen and John Wick. And, I mean, that should be enough. That should be enough of an argument. It's on our feed. Go listen to it there and listen to the rest of the episodes at drimbus.com. Or, just go straight to drimbus.com and listen to all the episodes of Yes Chef. It is an extremely fun premise, a great cast, great show. So I have now given you many links to check in the description, so I'm not going to give you any of our own. Our call to action is to check out Hannah, Lara, or Dungeons and Drimbus. Pick your poison. Which one are you most interested in? That's all I got for you this week. We will see you next time for the Lich's Shadow Part 3. But until then, you can find additional podcasts, outtakes, and short stories at patreon.com/questfriends. I'll see you there.
George is looking very pleadingly at these children, being like,
Unfortunately, Gleep George has now drawn attention to himself, and now Hilda's like, what do you know about all this, huh?
I don't know anything. I'm just the intern.
Gleep George, we don't talk to the children.
I can't talk to you.
Gleep George, we don't talk to the talent either. Silence, silencio, thank you. You, first child, more annoying child.
Which one is she pointing to?
They're both most annoying child. I'm gonna say Irene.
Okay.
Most annoying child, I say to Irene.
Yes.
No, I have not been published in any peer-reviewed journals because my peers are idiots. My peers, quote, are no peers of mine. I am more powerful, more intelligent, more adept, and more decorated than any of them could hope to be.
Do you find that hampers your credibility?
Do you find that having your nose stuck up academia's butt, that hampers your ability to smell cool things happening near you?
Oh, now,
no,
Miss
I don't.
Okay. All right. Maybe I can call a bus back. All right.
Did they just leave us all here?
Oh no.
No plan to evacuate this junkyard, this abandoned mall?
He's so good at his job.
So this is a Saturday, and to ensure the school has an accurate budget, the school buses are put out to do bachelorette parties on Saturday afternoon, evening.
They sent us on a field trip on a Saturday?
It's a club trip.
Oh dear.
Absolutely horrifying implications of what children might find between the seats during the week.
Don't worry, Seth has it in the parental agreement.
Oh, so not really good at cleaning up. Just sort of like, this may happen.
They cannot be sued for any penises or penis paraphernalia that may in fact be found.
That's beautiful. I love sex ed in this land.
Anyways, where were we? How did we get here?
Seth Keyhole was desperately trying to recall a bus.
I've been pulled into an argument with a literal child.
Yeah, immediately.
So I'm doing my best.
You're doing great. How is that argument going, actually?
It's going great. Thank you.
I feel like we both think we're winning.
Yeah.
I want both of you to roll convince somebody, and I want you to do fierce, because you're arguing with each other.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, that's an 8.
Okay, that's an 8. All right, Emily, you have to get higher than 8.
What if I tied?
What are your fierce stats?
3.
3.
What are your skills?
Performance and pain tolerance.
I don't think I've heard you say those next to each other before.
Multitasking and gardening. You know what? Multitasking, you have to keep track of a lot of things when you're arguing.
I would like to take one for the team to raise Irene to a 10.
How does Hilda take one for the team? And I hold a hard move, or do I have to do it immediately?
You can hold it for whenever you wish to use it against me.
Okay, perfect. How do you help Irene? Because you can see people are thinking, and even Walnut's kind of like, well, I mean, what she did was pretty cool, so...
Hilda's gonna become Irene's hype woman in the crowd, and though it may not be reasoned debate, she is going to be louder than even these reality TV stars.
And yeah, the kids start getting excited. I don't remember what Irene's point is, so I don't think they do either.
They haven't been published in any Necromon-related academic journals.
Not published in any academic journal. That's not much of a...
Academia.
Hilda is alternating between Irene shouts just to get people's attention focused on the important thing. Irene. And then occasionally throwing in a propaganda slogan of books rule.
Hunter's drool.
Hunter's drool, yeah. Let's go with that.
Book roll, Hunter's drool. Yeah. The kids start riling up and clapping, and Seth is putting his hand on the phone and looking back at the children worried. He's like, come now. Oh, actually, that is a good slogan, but maybe don't chant it at our guests, children. No, not you. Please get here as quickly as you can, he says, going back to the phone. I don't care how many bachelorettes you have on.
I would like to do something cruel, friends.
Yeah, hit me.
I have the ability to once per adventure just automatically get a full success on attempting to understand a thing.
Yeah.
And that, if I recall correctly, allows me to ask a simple question about a target. And the simple question that I would like to ask is, what is Irene most embarrassed about?
So that, unfortunately, would be see into their heart, not understand. However, I believe Grumbo has stuff for see into their heart.
Grumbo does. And Grumbo would love to help.
What do you have, Grumbo?
I am able to roll slick for see into their heart with the move Everyone's a Mark.
I like that we're staring each other down, and then we've got our two hype women in the background.
Grumbo is glaring at this child and angrily wipes some drool from her mouth that was there already, and she's very embarrassed that this child called attention to it. And then I rolled a 4 + 5 + 3, which is 12. So I think I slink up behind Elizabeth Thorne so I can whisper in her ear what I've observed.
And what is the question?
What is she most embarrassed by? I'm looking for a weak spot.
Irene, you have to answer truthfully to that.
Yeah, because I rolled real good.
You cannot lie by omission either. You have to answer truthfully.
Yeah. So she's most embarrassed about being young.
Okay, perfect. So Grumbo, just like glaring at this child, goes up back behind Elizabeth and is like,
well, she thinks she's a little adult, doesn't she? But she's not. She's a child.
She is 12. She's in fact 1 year younger than everyone else in her class.
And so I'm going to listen to the helpful advice grumboed into my ear. And
Grumbo.
and sort of pull myself up and take a step back and say to Grumbo out loud so that everyone can hear, you know, Grumbo, I tire of this 10-year-old moppet. Don't you think maybe we should concentrate on what the adults in the room have to say?
I believe so.
And I say this indicating literally the other children.
Irene is speechless with anger. She is beside herself. She can't even make noises. She's just opening and closing her mouth.
Yeah, congrats on hitting double digits, Pipsqueak.
Quit being mean to my friend.
I don't need your help, Hilda.
Also, no, I won't stop.
Hilda's gonna take out what looks like a non-inflated balloon and start blowing it up.
I'm sorry, is this supposed to be threatening? Are we threatened by this?
Boss, balloon animals are pretty spooky.
Indeed, Gleep George is looking very concerned. He's edging away a little bit, like he's holding the camera still where it needs to be, but he's moving his body as far away from Hilda as he can.
As it gets longer, Hilda's going to start, like, tying it off and turn it into a long balloon axe.
And Tom, I think for this section, because you brought it up a few times and Booker isn't here, I will let that axe count as your signature item for this session.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, so this child makes a balloon axe while staring daggers at you.
I'm still honestly not sure if I should be threatened, but this is an interesting turn of events.
No, Elizabeth, I don't think you understand. You should be very threatened. Have you seen that thing?
Have you seen us?
It's a balloon.
Have you ever tried to fight a balloon?
No.
But the day is young.
And here's where the hard move comes in.
Oh no.
There is a loud screech. Glass shatters on everyone as a skylight is broken over by the foggy silhouette of a giant dragon with deep blue skin and piercing white eyes.
White Eyes Blue Dragon!
And with a roar, White Eyes Blue Dragon, the one that was freed from Oset Scuba's collection, slams on top of Hilda and screeches at all of the children. And I think it's time for a confrontation. One of the skeletons, however, is moving, though, and he's like, well, I'm not sure how to get out of this. Oh, I know. I'll text Kike. I'll invite him to something fun. He'll let me out of this. For people listening, Hannah is just dancing this entire time. Just imagine someone just moving their arms.
Miming the net.
Yeah. Just imagine someone having a grand old Vanna White time, and but like not still like Vanna is when she gets in the pose, like constantly trying a new pose.
Just nonstop voguing over here. No one's told him yet those agreements don't hold up very well in court.
Yeah, no one's told him. But no parent has yet to challenge him. The closest a parent ever got was Alina, but she felt so bad for Seth Keyhole she couldn't go through with it. She's like, the Hilda's seen worse things with Sparky. Like, I'm not gonna push this.
Has she?
I mean,
Probably.
probably a coin flip.
What is Hilda see?
The question, where did you learn that word, does not exist in the Miskiewicz household, because the answer is Sparky Malarkey 99% of the time.
She didn't learn any words from Mom Yulia. Only tuba sounds. What I will say is I should probably say that there are two things that are tied. Because I don't think that they can make fun of the one.
Okay. Bring up that lack of a cane that you desperately need. Look at this child. She's in constant agony. Oh, wait, that's kind of metal. Never mind.